The world of emerging technologies is in a state of constant flux, with platforms and applications evolving at an overwhelming speed. Supporting development methodologies have also undergone a sea change over the last 10 years. Concepts like Agile, Scrum, DevOps, and CI/CD have taken over the digital economy. And Azure DevOps is one among them that has a great growth in coming times and promising future. And no doubt they are in huge demands. Hi all, this is Tanishka from Edureka and I welcome you all to this session. So today we'll be discussing on Azure DevOps interview questions so that it will help you out to crack the interviews. So before we get started, make sure you subscribe to our Edureka YouTube channel and hit the bell icon to never miss any updates. Also, if you're interested in Azure certification and training, then do check out the links given below in the description. So without any wait, let's get started. Let's quickly jump on to our today's agenda. So firstly, we'll be having an overview on what is Microsoft Azure, followed by what is Azure DevOps, and then we'll look on to our Azure DevOps interview questions. And lastly, we'll also see some of the scenario-based interview questions. What is Microsoft Azure? Microsoft Azure is a cloud computing platform and a web portal that lets you access and manage Microsoft's cloud services and resources. Depending on your needs, these services and resources include storing and altering your data. It provides a wide range of cloud services including compute, analytics, storage, and networking. So this was all about Microsoft Azure. Next we have what is Azure DevOps. Azure DevOps is a Microsoft's application as a service platform that offers end-to-end DevOps toolchain for building and distributing software. It provides developer services for allowing teams to plan work, collaborate on code development, and build and deploy applications. It also supports collaborative culture and set of processes that bring together developers, project managers, and contributors to develop the software. Now that we have come to know what is Microsoft Azure and what is Azure DevOps, let's quickly jump on to some of the Azure DevOps interview questions. So the first question is, what is DevOps? Of course, this is one of the first Microsoft Azure DevOps interview question that you will be asked. So the answer to this is, DevOps is a set of cultural ideas, practices, and technologies that improves an organization's capacity to provide applications and services at high velocity by changing and enhancing products at a quicker rate than traditional software development and infrastructure management methods. In simple terms, DevOps essentially speeds up the process of delivery of application and software services. Coming with our second question, why use DevOps? So this is a common Azure DevOps interview question. So how do we answer it? DevOps is significant because it is a software development and operation methodology that allows for faster product creation and simpler maintenance of existing installations. When problem arises, the DevOps team is able to listen to the user and provide the necessary features and repairs. It also facilitates the delivery of smaller features to clients in a quick and efficient manner and allows seamless software delivery. So this was the answer to why use DevOps. Let's quickly move on to our next question. How does DevOps work? So DevOps is about breaking down barriers between previously compartmentalized departments such as development and operations. These development and operations teams collaborate across the whole software application lifecycle from development and testing to deployment and operations under the DevOps paradigms. Going ahead, what is Azure DevOps? So as I said before, Azure DevOps is a Microsoft application as a service platform that offers an end-to-end DevOps toolchain for building and distribution software. It also interfaces with the majority of the market's main products and is an excellent choice for coordinating a DevOps toolchain. This process includes testing automation, continuous integration, as well as continuous delivery. People with both development and the operation skill work together and implement various tools for CI/CD and monitoring for quick response to customers' requirements and fixing issues and bugs. Moving ahead, what are the benefits of DevOps? So there are 5 benefits of DevOps which we'll understand one by one. So first is speed. DevOps practices let you move at a velocity you need to innovate faster, adapt to changing marketing better, and become more efficient at driving business results. Second benefit is rapid delivery. So when you increase the pace of the releases, you can improve your product faster and build competitive advantage. Third is reliability. In this, DevOps practices like continuous integration and continuous delivery can ensure the quality of application updates and infrastructure changes so you can reliably deliver at more rapid pace while maintaining an optimum experience for end users. At number 4, improved collaboration. Under DevOps model, developers and operation teams collaborate closely, share responsibilities, and combine their workflows. This reduces inefficiency and saves time as well. And finally, number 5, we have security. So you can adopt a DevOps model without sacrificing security by using automated integrated security testing tools. So these were the 5 benefits of DevOps which makes it more demanding. Let's move on to number 6. So the number 6 question is name a few DevOps tools. So the answer to this is some of the popular DevOps tools are Git, Selenium, Jenkins, Puppet, Chef, Ansible, Negios, Docker. So you can answer any of the 4 DevOps tools which are easy to remember. Moving ahead with the next question. What are the popular DevOps tools for continuous integration and continuous deployment? So, Azure pipelines support macOS, Windows, and Linux. So, some of the popular DevOps tools for continuous integration and continuous deployment are Jenkins and TeamCity. These two are the DevOps tools which provide you both continuous integration and continuous deployment. Quickly moving ahead with the next question. Question number 8, that is, what are Azure boards? So, Azure Board is a user interface that allows you to keep a track of tasks, defects, and features in your software project. It enables you to monitor all your ideas to each development stage in order to keep your team on track with all the essential code modification related to your work procedure. Azure boards include features like boards, sprints, work items, dashboards, backlogs, queries, etc. Going ahead, what is Azure Repos? This is a basic Azure DevOps interview question, but it can be difficult to answer. So, the answer to this is Azure Repos is a collection of version control tools for managing your code. Using version control as soon as feasible, whether your software project is huge or little, is a smart idea. Version control systems are a piece of software that allow you to keep a track of changes to your code over time. Azure Repos offers centralized version control system as well as the distributed version control system, that is Git. At number 10, what are containers? Containers are software packages that include all the components required to execute in any environment. Containers virtualize the operating system in this fashion, allowing them to operate anywhere from private data center to a public cloud or even a developer's own laptop. Containers also provide the means to package software code, its configuration, dependencies, and packages into a single unit or object. Multiple containers can run on the same machine or share OS with containers for running fast, reliable, and consistent deployment anywhere. Moving ahead, what containers does Azure DevOps support? So Azure DevOps support the following containers such as Docker, Azure Kubernetes Service, ASP.NET with containers, Azure Service Fabric application with Docker support. So these are the containers which are supported by Azure DevOps. Moving ahead, what are Azure pipelines? Azure Pipeline is a cloud service that allows us to automatically create and test our code projects. The Azure Pipeline includes several features such as continuous integration and continuous delivery that allow us to test and build our code on regular and consistent basis and ship to any destination. It automatically develops and tests the code projects. It is a service on the Azure cloud that offers well with most project types and languages. Going ahead, at number 13, what is the use of Selenium in DevOps? Selenium is widely used browser automation technology. and testing teams heavily rely on it in DevOps pipeline. It is an open source solution that saves money for testing teams and functional testers that are in charge of UI testing. It specializes in the form of regression and functional testing. At number 14, what are Azure test plans? This is another one of the popular interview questions asked in Azure DevOps. So the answer to this is Azure Test Plans is a service provided by Azure DevOps that offers a browser-based test management solution for exploratory, scheduled manual, and user acceptance testing. In addition, Azure Test Plans includes a browser extension for exploratory testing and getting feedbacks for the stakeholders. Additionally, it also focuses on automated testing. It combines the contribution from developers, managers, testers, product owners, and user experience advocates and enhance the quality of the project. Moving ahead, what are the some important features of Memcached? So Memcached offers a wide variety of features. Some of them are like it is an open source, it's a UDP or TCP server client program. It works as a standalone service. The cached nodes are very ignorant, so they don't have other nodes involved. They are also under the license of Berkeley Software Distribution and it reduces the database load. So these were some of the important features of Memcached. Quickly moving ahead, at number 16, what is a dogpile effect and how can you prevent it? So a dogpile effect refers to an effect that occurs when a cache expires and websites are attacked by several requests sent by the client at the same time. It indicates the expiry of cache followed by the website being simultaneously hit by numerous requests. In simple terms, it indicates the expiry of cache followed by the website being simultaneously hit by numerous requests. This impact can be avoided by employing semaphore lock. When a log expires in this system, the first process gains the lag and begins creating the fresh value. At number 17, what is continuous testing? What is the use of test automation in DevOps? As we know, DevOps is all about people, culture, and automation. In this, continuous testing is the process of running automated tests as a part of the software delivery pipeline to get feedback on the business risks associated with a software release candidate as soon as feasible. DevOps use test automation to use the test cases to find the flaws and save time. Unlike manual testing, automation test cases accelerate testing, allowing you to get products to market faster. Moving ahead, number 18, what is a forking workflow? So before we get to know what is forking workflow, let us know what is forking. So forking is a git clone process that is performed on server copy of the project's repository. The forking method supports open source projects and isolates changes from the main repository until they are ready to be integrated. What is forking workflow? Forking workflow is a git clone process that is performed on a server copy of a project's repository. This method supports an open source project and isolates changes from the main repository until they are ready to be integrated. Moving ahead, what are some of the useful plugins in Jenkins? So it has a very simple answer. So there are many useful Jenkins plugins, out of which would be describing few. So among them are Amazon EC2, Maven 2 project, HTML publisher, join, copy artifact, green balls, and many more. So these are few useful Jenkins plugins and it will be very easy for you to remember it. Quickly moving ahead with number 20, can we move or copy Jenkins from one server to another? So the answer to this is yes, it is possible. Jenkins can be removed from one server to another just by cloning the job directory from the previous server to the new or the current one, and later you can rename it. This enables moving an installation by copying the corresponding job directory. So these were the top 20 Azure DevOps interview questions. So let's look on to some scenario-based Azure DevOps interview questions. So the first one is, we have 50 commits in develop branch, out of which only 5 commits need to be pushed in the release branch, which will eventually deployed in the production. Okay, so the question is we have around 50 commits in the develop branch, which is mostly used for development activities. So in that we have multiple commits, and the release branch is used to release your changes into your proper environments like your stage production. So here out of 50, only 5 commits need to be posted into the release branch. So the best way to achieve it is through Git cherry picking. Git cherry picking is the act of picking a commit from a branch, applying it to another. Git cherry pick can be useful for undoing changes. For example, say a commit is accidentally made to the wrong branch. So what you can do, you can switch to the correct branch and cherry pick the commit to where it should belong. More simply, it would be like a box of cherry in which you have to pick 5 best cherries out of it. So you start picking the best cherries, and if you want to run this cherry picking, you need to use the Git console. So using the git line command, you can initiate the cherry picking. So let's move on to our second scenario. So in the second scenario, a developer has created an ASP.NET Core application, and now he wishes to automate the entire build and release process through Azure DevOps. Guide the developer with the entire end-to-end process and deploy the application on Azure Web App using IAC methodology. Okay, so guys, as you can see that we have multiple questions, and in this entire scenario which we are talking about, the first question is that there is a developer which is very much new to DevOps, and he has reached out of the reaches of DevOps engineer, and now he asks how to automate the entire build and release process. And in the another scenario, we need to deploy this on the Azure web app using the IAC methodology. So the first step is to be taken by the developer to build the application locally. After that, we create a Azure repos and push the source code in the remote repository along with the IAC configuration file. And lastly, we create a build pipeline, classic or YAML based, in which we can build the solution using MS Build or VS Build, run the code analysis through SonarQube, Veracode, etc., run code coverage, copy ARM or Terraform configuration files, also publish the artifact either on FillerShare or Azure Pipeline drop location. So this was the answer to the scenario. Moving ahead with the next scenario, here the developer named Ram has few commits changes in his local branch, and now he has to empty the current work directory to accommodate emergency change. So how can Ram handle such scenario without losing his uncommit changes? So to achieve this, he used git stash. What is git stash? Git stash is a command that takes your uncommitted changes, that is both staged and upstaged, and save them away for later use, and then reverts them from your working copy. So there are commands like git stash, which stashes the uncommit changes, and next is git stash list. So you can list all the stashed changes. Then there are other commands like git stash pop to reapply the most recent stat changes, and git stash drop to drop the most recent stat changes. So this is how he can overcome the scenario without losing any of his uncommit changes. Let's quickly look on to our next scenario. That is, a developer has developed a microservice application, that is ASP.NET Core, and it automates the entire end-to-end process to deploy the application on Azure Kubernetes service. Make sure to use pipeline as a code methodology for the entire build and release. So for this, the first step to be taken is by the developer to build the application locally. Then he needs to create an Azure repos and push the source code in a remote repository along with the IAC configuration file. Then again, he needs to create a build pipeline, classic or YAML based, as we had discussed in the previous scenarios. Then after that, he needs to use an ARM template or a Terraform configuration to create an Azure web app. Later, he can create a release pipeline and run the ARM template task. And post web app creation, he can run ASP.NET application deployment task. So this was the answer to this scenario. So let's check on to our last scenario, that is a developer has developed an application module, and while developing, he made around 100 commits locally. Now he needs to push all his changes into a remote developed branch as a single commit. We don't want the developer's messy history in the developed branch. So the answer to this question is Git squash. So what is Git squash? Git squash is a technique that helps you take a series of commits and condense it to the few commits. That means you can condense it to one single commit, and those 100 commits will be condensed and converted into one single commit. So you can use the git command line, that is git rebase hyphen I head 3, where I represents interactive. So it is interactive head. And 3 means it will take the last 3 commits you want to try on your console or get command or git command line. So this was the answer to the scenario. So guys, this was all from my side. So we discussed top 20 Azure DevOps interview questions along with 5 scenario based interview questions. I hope you liked this session and hope you have understood or how the questions will be asked during the interviews, whether it is theory based or the situational based. I hope this will help you out to crack your interviews. Well, that's all from my end. Thank you. Happy learning.
I hope you have enjoyed listening to this video. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries, and we will reply them at the earliest. Do look out for more videos in our playlist and subscribe to Edureka channel to learn more. Happy learning!